Hello everyone, I am Arpita and I am the mentor at the Statesman Club on Habitat. The Statesman Club is dedicated to your international relations preparation for the UPSC CSE exam. We are launching a new advanced batch of the Statesman Club. This advanced batch will entail 10 days current affairs and thematic discussions of international relations. In addition to the 10 discussions, we are also going to have two sessions where we will discuss the previous year IR mains questions. So let me give you a sneak peek into the club. Now let us understand how we are going to proceed with this club. So the first question that is likely to come to our mind is, why are we even talking about international relations? The reason we are discussing international relations today in this club is because international relation accounts for 50 marks of the general studies mains paper 2. Sometimes even more than that, like in the 2013 paper, it accounted for 80 marks. But that's not all. We should not view international relations merely from the perspective of this 50 marks of GS paper 2. International relations also has some important linkages with other aspects of your syllabus. Which kind of other portions of your syllabus is linked to international relations? Say your internal security aspect of general studies paper 3. Also, a good knowledge and a solid understanding of international relations can be really beneficial for you for writing your essay. Moreover, there is some close connection between international relations and world history as well. So, through this course, we are also going to understand the different aspects of the syllabus related to international relations and the nature of the questions being asked. The questions are definitely very dynamic in nature, in the sense that they are based on events of contemporary relevance, whatever is happening in the past 2 years or the last 1.5 years. However, the questions also at times tend to require a slightly broader understanding or an analytical understanding. To give you an example, there was a question in the 2020 paper on the comparison between the Indo-US and the Indo-Russian defense deals. Now, there was no significant Indo-Russian defense deals in the last 1 or 2 years. However, it was asking us to reflect upon the nature of the Indo-Russian defense deals. So, if we confine our understanding to only what has happened in the last 1 year, what kind of foreign visits have taken place or any MOUs have been signed, that much of understanding alone is not enough. We need to have some idea or a broader perspective of the foreign policy of India, so that these kind of comparison based question we are able to handle in the examination. So, what are we going to do in these 10-12 days that we are going to spend for the Statesman Club Advanced Batch? Now, I know that for many of you, the fear of prelims has already started to set in, especially those of you who are giving your first attempt or second attempt. Generally, students tend to be paranoid about prelims. However, let me tell you that because of the postponement of prelims over the last 2 years, the time gap between prelims and mains is reducing. And even if you do very well in your prelims, if there is a gap of say 90 days, well, we often end up spending the first 1 week overcoming the euphoria of having finished the prelims or having done well in the prelims, and at times also speculating over the cutoff. So, if I would say a conservative estimate, then these 90 days would probably actually be 80 days in your hands. Now, in these 80 days, you have so many papers: 4 general studies paper, 1 essay paper, 2 optional paper. That is why it is important that we make some progress with respect to our mains preparation at this stage itself. And I would say roughly till the mid of August, you can try and devote maybe 2.5 hours of your day to the mains preparation and devote maybe the rest 6 to 8 hours to your prelims preparation. Now, keeping this in mind, I have designed this program in such a way that at the max you do not end up spending more than 2.5 hours here. 2.5 hours for a span of 10 days and 2 days of discussion of the PYQs. So, with the help of these 2 hours, one, you will be finishing an important aspect of your general studies mains paper 2 syllabus. And as I told you, this will also help you with respect to your essay writing. So, this will also take care of the fact that the time between our mains and prelims are going to be limited. So, at least some part of our main syllabus we would not have to worry about. As I already mentioned with respect to the essay writing. And another thing I want to tell here is that those of you who have PSIR optional can also benefit from the analysis that we will do in this course, particularly with reference to your India and the world portion of the syllabus. Now, the India and the world portion of your PSIR syllabus, as you know, the questions asked are again very current affairs oriented, dynamic in nature. So, as I will show you the tentative list of topics, even those of you with PSIR optional can benefit from this course. So, let me give you a breakup of what is going to be the approach in the Statesman Club Advanced Batch. As I told you earlier as well, it is going to be a 12-day program to cover international relations, where 10 days will be devoted to our current affairs based thematic discussion, and 2 days on Google Meet are going to be devoted to previous year mains IR discussion. The focus is going to be on current affair themes and also on answer writing. So every day I'm going to give you one question based on the discussion that we have had, and you can write an answer to that question. I also review some of the answers that are written by the students on a daily basis, and I try to ensure that at least every student gets a review from me in a week. And you can also review each other's answer. Now, if you feel that you are hard pressed for time and you cannot devote time to answer writing, although writing one answer every day based on what you have studied in the class or discussed in the sessions of Habitat will help you consolidate your learning, and it will also help you overcome the inertia with respect to answer writing, because right after prelims you will have no option but to begin with answer writing. So if you start a little bit of it before prelims, it will give you an edge after prelims. And the best way to practice answer writing is to write an answer on those topics that you are already discussing in class. And 7 to 8 minutes to write one answer is, I think, something that we can all give. However, if you feel that even this is too much for you and you are not able to devote this much amount of time also for answer writing, I would at least encourage you to frame a structure of your answer. Just write down 1 or 2 points as to, okay, this is what I will put in the introduction, this is what I will write in the subheading. And let me tell you, my students from the first batch of the Statesman Club have benefited immensely from these sessions in terms of improving their answer writing, including those students who have earlier written mains a couple of times. And how are you going to work upon your answer writing? When I say answer writing for IR, one of the things that I give emphasis upon is an IR specific vocabulary. Any subject in this exam requires a specific type of vocabulary. For example, if you are writing an answer for ethics, words like attitude, empathy, emotional intelligence should be there in your answer. Similarly, there are some maybe 30 to 40 key words in IR, like balance of power. Some new words that are catching on these days, even related to, say, with respect to India's policies on Pakistan, like the Cold Start Doctrine, nuclear deterrence, no first use. So this kind of a vocabulary, if you are able to, incorporate in your answer, it shows your understanding and knowledge of the subject, and also helps you to express yourself in a fewer words, because ultimately we just have 150 to 250 words to write. And again, this is something that students picked up really well, those who practiced answer writing regularly in the first session of the Statesman Club, and they were able to use it very effectively in their answers. As I told you, I will give you one model question every day, and I'll also provide you a structure to that question the next day as to how an answer for that question can be written. And we will also be having a mains PYQ discussion. What will be our approach in the club? Now, Habitat is a chat based platform, so our actual discussions are going to happen through chats. But before every session, I will be providing you with some kind of preliminary reading. It will be a short reading, maximum 4 to 5 pages. It can also be sometimes a newspaper article, like, say, from the Indian Express explained section, that I would want you to read before you come to the session. The discussion in our session, because this is an advanced club, is going to be more on the current development and more of analysis, and not too much of we will not be discussing too much of the background of an issue. Of course, wherever it is necessary, we will. But our main focus is going to be to understand the current developments on it and analyze the current developments through different angles. And if there is any background that you need to know, that would be given to you in the reading before the class. One of the things that I do is, based on the discussion that we have in the class, I also provide a summary document after the session is over. So this is going to be the flow of the class. A preliminary reading, it can be a document shared by me or some newspaper articles, then the chat based discussion, and lastly, the summary of the discussion would be provided. Now, international relations is basically about at least the kind of syllabus that we have for the GS mains, requires us to know well the Indian foreign policy, how it has evolved, how it has changed, and this policy perspective we have to integrate with our current affairs. There is no point in knowing that, okay, some foreign secretary visited India or our foreign minister visited another country. These kind of visits in itself are not important. But from the perspective of international relations, what is important to know is, suppose if our Prime Minister is visiting Saudi Arabia, if there are any MOUs signed, the details of those MOUs are not important for you. You will not be asked a question on what were the MOUs signed by the Prime Minister in his recent visit to Saudi Arabia. But what that visit makes important for our examination perspective is, what is India's policy with respect to West Asia? What are India's national interest in West Asia? What are the challenges that India is facing in West Asia? So this is the way in which we have to integrate the foreign policy perspective, mostly with reference to India, with the current affairs. And we will practice some answer writing for the IR questions. As I already told you how the sessions are going to be conducted, they are going to be interactive sessions based on our chat-based platform. There are going to be 2 free sessions. The initial 2 sessions are free, that will be open for everyone on the Habitat platform. The Google Meet session to discuss the IR mains PYQ, and you would be discussing your answers. If you do not want to write the full answers, at least the structure of the answers, you can discuss them with your peers in the club as well as with your mentor. So, here I have given a tentative list of the topics that I intend to cover in this club. Like, we will begin with a discussion on the changing dynamics of Indian foreign policy, and beginning from, say, the 1950s, the time of Nehru, to what is being described in the Modi era as the age of energetic diplomacy. So we will take an understanding of what has been the changing dynamics of our foreign policy, what have been the different stages in which our foreign policy has evolved. India, China. Well, China is going to be like this overshadowing presence through our entire course, although we would be dedicating this first session, the second session, especially to China. India US relations, because there's a lot of speculation as to what the relations would be under Biden as compared to what was under the Trump era. So, this will be another of our discussion. Afghanistan, as you know, is emerging as one very important area because of the interests of different actors in the region. So, India's Afghanistan challenge. Indo Pacific. Now, this is one area that is becoming a hot cake for UPSC. Last year, also, two questions were asked. Now, you would think that, well, already, a question on Quad has been asked, comparing the Indo US and Indo Russian defense deal with respect to stability in Indo Pacific has been asked. What else is there in Indo Pacific? See, Indo Pacific is not just about Quad. Indo Pacific is also with respect to our relations with the African nations, particularly those along the Western Indian Ocean. So, Indo Pacific is also linked to our relations with ASEAN. There are many aspects of Indo Pacific other than Quad, and that is all those aspects we are going to look at through this course. Now, given the COVID situation, vaccine diplomacy is definitely one of the areas that we need to prepare. Gated globalization. I do not know how many of you have already come across this word, but the globalization 1.0 which was dominated by the Western powers, is today being replaced by a new form of globalization that is going to be dominated by China. And in this new globalization, there is going to be a fragmented supply chain because political trust is going to become more important than economic relations. So, we will understand the concept of gated globalization. Challenges of regionalism in South Asia. SARC diplomacy was revived during the time of COVID. However, regionalism in South Asia has not evolved in the way as it has done even in Southeast Asia or in Europe for that matter. So, we will understand the reasons behind this. India's quest for reform multilateralism. Here we can include what kind of reforms we want in the UN structure, what kind of reforms do we want in the WTO, and lastly, a very broad topic on the challenges and opportunities for India in the post pandemic geopolitical landscape. I'm sure that this topic will be relevant not just for the IR mains paper but also for your essay. So, I would like to end this with a quote that productivity is being able to do things that you were never able to do before. Please click on the link below to enroll in the Statesman Club, the advanced batch. And if you want to get an idea as to how the sessions are conducted on Habitat, over the next 2 weeks, I will be taking a couple of free sessions. So you're most invited to come and join me on those sessions so that you understand how Habitat works. Click on the link below to enroll in the Statesman Club Advanced Batch. Thank you so much.